So immune system in body. So the immune system or our body will have a certain structure called biological structure and process. So with this, the organism will uh, produce a certain types of antibodies against the disease causing organism, pathogen or parasites, okay, or antigens. And these antibodies or these cells, the certain structure cells producing from certain structures, will help in the identify of the self from the non-self and to remember them. अब कुनै पनि अर्गानिजम हाम्रो बडीभित्र आयो, बडीभित्र चाहिँ अर्गानिजम आइसकेपछि चाहिँ हाम्रो बडीमा एउटा बायोलोजिकल स्ट्रक्चर हुन्छ र त्यो स्ट्रक्चरको सर्टेन सेल हुन्छ, त्यो सेलको आफ्नै प्रोसेस हुन्छ। त्यसको हेल्पले गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो आफ्नो कम्पोनेन्ट र आफ्नो बडीको नन सेल्फ फरेन कम्पोनेन्टलाई चिन्ने आइडेन्टिफाई गर्ने एउटा एबिलिटी हुन्छ। After identifying which one is self and which one is non-self, the cell which is produced from the biological structures will able to remember them. Okay, now for that, these structures may be of different types. These structures is actually associated with the immune system. So let's see the structures. Let's first one is the lymphoid organ, and second one is a tissues and cell. Third is antibodies, which is a soluble molecule which can be soluble to the blood, which can be soluble from the inside to the outside of the cell, from outside to the inside of the cell, and which can be soluble from the host body to the body of the antigen. Okay, and this cell and these structures, these proteins will have a unique ability to recognize foreign antigens, and this will respond to this. Okay, after recognizing this foreign antigen, now this cell will respond by secreting certain proteins called antibodies, and after the eradication of the antigens for the first time, so these cells, these antibodies, these B cell, T cells will be able to remember them. Okay, if we see the functions of these structures, then these cells, these structures, these tissues will be responsible for the allergic reaction. Okay, when there will be the entry of the antigen will occur, so in response to that antigen, certain proteins will be secreted in our body. So after secreting that protein, that chemical, that protein or that chemical will interact with the antigen. At that time, certain allergic reactions will be there in the body of the host organism. Okay, sometimes in the body itself, the because of certain genetic mutation, or maybe because of other reasons, our own cells will start attracting the cell of the self. Okay, and that time the autoimmune disease will occur. Okay, now these cells will also work when there will be a organ transplantation or graft transplantation, when the organs such as eyes from the donors, heart from the donors, kidney from the donors is transplanted to the recipient. At that time, our immune system will also work against that organ. Our immune system will recognize that the organ which is recently implanted into the body of the recipient is not from our body, it is from the outside. That means it is non-self. So in regards to that, this immune system will start producing certain types of antibodies, okay, to minimize, to reduce that response. Immunosuppressant, okay, injection will be given to the patient. So let's first of all just see the lymphatic organ. Okay, now there are altogether different types of lymphatic organ. So let's start with the tonsils, thymus. This tonsil is present in the neck region. Now thymus is present in the chest region. Okay, and this lymph node is also present in the left side of the chest region, and also you can see in the right side of the chest region. Okay, from this lymph node lymphatic vessels नोडबाट चाहिँ vessels इमर्ज हुँदैछ यो साइडमा पनि. If you see in the other side lymph node means dotted light structures. Dotted light structures is there in the both side of the body of the human being. From these nodes certain vessels, certain tube like structure is like projecting or emerging, and that is known as lymphatic vessels. Inside that vessels lymph will certain fluid like structures will be transported. Okay, okay, you can also see that there is the spleen in the abdomen region just above the stomach or just above the intestine. There will be a spleen. Okay, now certain patches, you can see certain patches inside the stomach, not stomach, small intestine. Okay, and that patches is known as Pear's patches. Okay, just beneath this stomach or intestine you can see that certain small structure is there. Okay, and that is known as appendix. Okay, now this appendix is also responsible for the secretion of the antibodies. And this is bone marrow. This bone marrow is present in our in the thigh bone. Okay, so I think you have heard that this appendix is a vestigial organ. Vestigial organ भनेको काम नलाग्ने organ भनेर भनिन्थ्यो पहिला. Okay, तर recently after the certain research on this appendix हैन, कुनै पनि कुरा चाहिँ without purpose उसको creation हुँदैन. So likewise researchers have done research on this appendix and found that this appendix is a very important, and this appendix is responsible for the production of the certain types of immune cells. Okay, let's study one by one. Okay, lymphoid organ. Let's talk about the lymphoid organ. Now let's see the origin. So from where this the origin of this lymphoid organ will occur. Origin and or maturation and proliferation. This proliferation means division or multiplication. Okay, increase in the number is known as proliferation of lymphocyte occurs in the lymphoid organ. भन्नुको मतलब ओरिजिन यहाँबाट स्टार्ट हुन्छ, म्याच्युर पनि लिम्फोइड अर्गनमै हुन्छ, र लिम्फोइड अर्गनभित्र नै के हुन्छ, डिभिजन हुन्छ, अथवा नम्बर अफ अ लिम्फोसाइट द्याट इज बी लिम्फोसाइट र टी लिम्फोसाइटको नम्बर चाहिँ बढ्छ. कहाँनिर भने lymphoid organs ma. That's why the organs is the where origins will occur. Okay, so this lymphoid organ अब अझै दुई types को हुन्छ. There are of two types of the lymphoid organ. So one is the primary lymphoid organ and another one is the secondary lymphoid organ. So this primary lymphoid organ मा चाहिँ अब के हुँदो रहेछ र कुन रहेछ. Now you can see that this thymus and this bone marrow. I think you all have seen this thymus. Okay, and this bone marrow is known as the primary lymphoid organ. अब यो thymus र bone marrow मा चाहिँ के हुन्छ? In the bone marrow and in the bone marrow, now the origin, the starting of the production of the lymphocytes will occur. अब स्टार्ट हुन्छ, बनिनु थाल्छ, त्यसको बादमा बोन म्यारोमा के हुन्छ, म्याच्योर हुँदै जान्छ, अनि फेरि त्यहाँबाट प्रोलिफरेशन्स डिभिजन हुँदै जान्छ इम्युन सेलको, अनि मात्र चाहिँ के गर्छ, ट्राभल गर्छ अरू अर्गन्सहरुमा. ओके, ड्युरिङ प्रोलिफरेशन्स, अब प्रोलिफरेसन र चाहिँ म्याचुरेसनको टाइममा, ओके, डिभिजन अथवा इन्क्रिजिङ एन्ड म्याच्योर हुने टाइममा चाहिँ सबैभन्दा पहिला इम्याच्योर लिम्फोसाइट्स चाहिँ केमा डिफ्रेन्शिएट, डिस्टिङ्ग्विस. वी नो द्याट देयर आर टु टाइप्स अफ लिम्फोसाइट, राइट? बी लिम्फोसाइट र टी लिम्फोसाइट छ. तर ओरिजिनेसनको टाइममा चाहिँ बी लिम्फोसाइट टी लिम्फोसाइट भनेर उनीहरू डिभाइड भएको हुँदैन ओके उनीहरू इम्याच्योर हुन्छ जब म्याच्योर हुन्छ तब मात्रै डिभिजन हुन्छ तर उनीहरू त्यो टाइममा इम्याच्योर छ सो यो इम्याच्योर लिम्फोसाइट अनि मात्रै के हुन्छ डिभाइड हुन्छ डिफ्रेन्सिएट हुन्छ ओके इन्टु एन्टिजेन सेन्सिटिभ लिम्फोसाइट अब द टर्म एन्टिजेन सेन्सिटिभ लिम्फोसाइट भन्नुको मतलब यो जुन चाहिँ लिम्फोसाइट छ भर्खर डिफ्रेन्सिएट भएको बी लिम्फोसाइट र टी लिम्फोसाइटमा भर्खर मात्रै डिफ्रेन्सिएट भएको छ इम्याच्योर लिम्फोसाइटबाट एन्ड द्याट लिम्फोसाइट इज नट लाइक इन्टरेक्टेड ओके टिल सो फार विथ द एन्टिजेन त्यो कारणले गर्दा चाहिँ लिम्फोसाइट चाहिँ एकदमै सेन्सिटिभ छ उनीहरू एन्टिजेनसँग इन्टरेक्सन गरेको छैन अब इम्याच्योर लिम्फोसाइट चाहिँ के हुन्छ will get mature okay after maturation the lymphocytes migrates to secondary lymphoid organ okay proliferation र maturation को बादमा मात्रै primary lymphoid organ बाट lymphocyte differentiated lymphocyte which is very antigen sensitive lymphocyte छ mature हुन्छ अनि मात्रै migrate गर्छ secondary lymphoid organ you can see in the diagram apart from this bone marrow र thymus देखिन except अरु जति पनि these all are secondary lymphoid organ so likewise tonsil is the secondary lymphoid organ lymph node lymphatic vessels spleen bare patches in small intestine and this appendix all these things are known as secondary lymphoid organ primary lymphoid organ बाट अब secondary lymphoid organ मा lymphocyte migrate भयो okay now this secondary lymphoid organ there are different types of secondary lymphoid organs यो secondary lymphoid organs ले चाहिँ के गर्छ will provide the site for interactions of lymphocyte with antigen अब secondary lymphoid organ मा मात्रै जुन चाहिँ म्याच्योर भएको लिम्फोसाइट छ that lymphocyte will interact with the antigen okay and then after that के हुन्छ lymphocyte को नम्बर बढेर जान्छ ओके जब म्याच्योर लिम्फोसाइट चाहिँ एन्टिजेनसँग सेकेन्डरी लिम्फोइड अर्गनमा इन्टरेक्सन गर्छ किनभने त्यो सेकेन्डरी लिम्फोइड अर्गनमा मात्रै इन्टरेक्सनको लागि साइट दिएको हुन्छ जब इन्टरेक्सन हुन्छ इन्टरेक्सन भइसकेपछि मात्रै लिम्फोसाइट द्याट इज बी लिम्फोसाइट और बी सेल टी लिम्फोसाइट और टी सेल चाहिँ proliferate huncha number of the B lymphocyte and the number of the T lymphocyte will increase okay and after that this will become more effective that is called effective cell so next is the function of lymphoid organ okay so we already know that bone marrow and thymus are primary lymphoid organ okay where the origin maturation and the proliferations of the lymphocyte will occur right these primary lymphoid organ will provide micro environments for development and maturations of T lymphocyte एउटा small environment दिन्छ अरे जसमा निर चाहिँ T lymphocyte के हुन्छ mature हुन्छ okay after that this in bone marrow मा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने तिम्रो main lymphoid organs where all blood cells including lymphocytes are produced bone marrow is the main lymphoid organ where all blood cells that is red blood cell white blood cell okay and platelets जति पनि बन्निनु पर्ने कुरा will be synthesis okay in the bone marrow including lymphocytes okay that is T lymphocytes okay in thymus this thymus is a lobed organ okay this is a lobed organ this will have a lobed and this is located near the heart you can see that this thymus is a lobed organ. Okay, this is a lobed just this Ani, we know that here is a heart and there will be the lungs inside the rib cage. Okay, in near to the heart there will be the thymus se kahan cha re? Near the heart the thymus is located, and beneath the breastbone ko munipati beneath ma. Okay, this thymus यसको एउटा peculiar characteristics छ. At the time of birth, when the child is a small child को मा चाहिँ के हुन्छ, at the time of birth the size of this thymus is very very large. जति time बित्दै जान्छ, the person will start developing, will start growing and will start maturing, adult हुन्छ, and then will enter into the old age. जति age बढ्दै जान्छ, okay, by increasing the number of the age, the size of this thymus will start reducing. जति age बढ्दै जान्छ thymus को size घट्दै घट्दै जान्छ. Okay, and by the time of puberty it reduced to a very small size of at the time of puberty. So puberty is the where the person will become very very reproductively mature at the time of puberty, and this puberty is occur in the adolescent period. Okay, from 11 years to in between the 11 years and up to the 18 years. So the puberty will start in initial age of the 11 years. Okay, and this adolescence period is also known as teenage. So after reaching a particular person or the child, after reaching to the adolescent period, okay, the puberty will start. So by the time of puberty the person attained, the size of the thymus will start reducing into a very very small size. Okay, so next is the spleen. So you can see that here is the spleen. Okay, now we are starting this spleen. Okay, this is the secondary lymphoid organ. We all are already familiar with this. This spleen is the secondary lymphoid organ. Now this spleen is a bean shaped. You can see that the spleen is a bean. Okay, bean जस्तै shaped हुन्छ spleen को, and this spleen will be consisting of the lymphocytes and phagocytes. That means lymphocytes means T lymphocytes. Okay, and phagocytes means neutrophils, macrophages, because these neutrophils, macrophages will engulf the antigen. Okay, after engulfing that antigen, this will secrete certain types of chemical. Okay, and that antigen will be engulfed within the body of these phagocytic cells called neutrophils and macrophages, and these neutrophils and macrophages are known as phagocytes, and the process is known as phagocytosis. Okay, this spleen will be consisting of lymphocytes and phagocytes. These two types of cell will act as a filter of the blood. If questions comes in the examination that which lymphoid organ is known as a filter of the blood, then you have to mention this spleen, because in the spleen there will be the lymphocyte and phagocytes which will act as the filter of the blood. अब how कसरी चाहिँ filter गर्छ भने, now this lymphocyte and phagocyte will by trapping the blood borne microorganism. Sometimes हाम्रो blood मा microorganism के भएर will contaminate भएर all over the body मा blood मा infection भएको हुन्छ. यो blood has to travel throughout the body, right? At the time of this circulation, when this blood borne microorganism, जुन चाहिँ microorganism parasite antigens हरु चाहिँ blood मा छ, यो travel गरेर चाहिँ this will come to the spleen मा आउँछ. spleen मा आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ lymphocyte र phagocytes बसिराखेको हुन्छ. Okay, this cell will trap the microorganism. यो microorganism लाई trapped गर्छ and then will kill that microorganism. Okay, again this spleen are also a large reservoir of erythrocytes. स्प्लिनमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ अरे, large number of erythrocytes means red blood cell is known as erythrocytes. So erythrocyte is nothing but it is RBC. So स्प्लिनमा चाहिँ RBC को amount एकदमै ज्यादा हुन्छ, and this spleen is also known as the large reservoir of erythrocytes. Okay. So next is the lymph node. If we see this lymph node, you can see that these certain granule size structures, dotted structures in both side of the uh, body of the human being. Okay, near to the hands, near to the shoulder, above the spleen, there is the lymph node. And this lymph node is also known as a secondary lymphoid organ. Okay, and this is a small solid structures located at different points along the lymphatic system. Small solid structures and सानो के डट लाइक ग्रान्युल्स लाइक सलिड स्ट्रक्चर्स हो. यो चाहिँ कहाँ हुन्छ भने डिफ्रेन्ट पोइन्ट्स अलोङ द लिम्फेटिक सिस्टममा. लिम्फेटिक सिस्टमको चाहिँ डिफ्रेन्ट पोइन्ट्सहरूमा अल ओभर द बडी स्क्याटर्ड भएर बसेको हुन्छ. अब यसको काम के हो? नाउ दिस lymph node will also trap the microorganism or antigen which enter the lymph and tissue fluid and activates lymphocyte causing immune response. यदि lymphma, this lymph node, okay, this lymph node will be consisting, this lymphatic system will be consisting of a certain fluid like structure is known as lymph. Certain fluid like structures such as blood is also a certain fluid like structures, right? Likewise यो चाहिँ के भयो, सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टमको ब्लड भयो. त्यस्तै लिम्फेटिक सिस्टममा पनि एउटा फ्लुइड हुन्छ. ओके, एन्ड द्याट फ्लुइड इज नोन एज लिम्फ. अब यो लिम्फमा चाहिँ बाई चान्स के भयो, माइक्रो अर्गेनिजम अथवा एन्टिजेन्सहरू चाहिँ एन्टर भयो अरे अथवा टिस्यु फ्लुइड्समा. अब यो टिस्यु फ्लुइड अथवा लिम्फमा आएको माइक्रो अर्गेनिजमले कसलाई एक्टिभेट गर्यो, लिम्फोसाइट्सलाई एक्टिभेट गर्यो, अनि इम्युन रेस्पोन्स के भयो, इन्क्रिज्ड भयो. त्यतिखेर चाहिँ नाउ दिस माइक्रो अर्गेनिजम एन्ड एन्टिजेन्स विल बी ट्र्याप्ड बाई दिस लिम्फोसाइट एन्ड द रप्चर अफ द डिस्ट्रोय or the damage of the or the killing of the microorganism will occur. Okay, so next is the lymphoid tissues. Now this lymphoid tissues say कहाँ हुन्छ? So the main location of these lymphoid tissues are in the respiratory tract, that is nostrils, okay, trachea, lungs, जति पनि respiratory air pipe छ जहाँ respirations हुन्छ, that tract, त्यो वेमा, त्यो बाटोमा के हुन्छ, there will be the lymphoid tissues. Okay, in the digestive tract, that is the alimentary canal from the esophagus, okay, to the stomach, and then small intestine and the large intestine, and to the anus, from the mouth to the anus. This whole tract is known as a digestive tract, and sometimes this is also known as alimentary canal. Okay, and in the urinogenital tract, that is the tract of the reproductive organ. So यो भित्र चाहिँ के हुन्छ अरे, एउटा टिस्युज हुन्छ अरे. कस्तो खालके टिस्युज? lymphoid tissues. So lymphoid भनिसकेपछि these tissues will be consisting of lymphocytes. Okay, and that tissues is known as mucosal associated lymphoid tissues, and the abbreviation for this is MALT. Okay, this mucosal associated lymphoid tissues will be present in the major tracts, okay, such as a respiratory tract, digestive tract, and urinogenital tract. Okay, and these MALT are 50% of the lymphoid tissues in the human body. Human body ma we have different types of tissues. Okay, थुप्रो खालके टिस्युज हुन्छ. त्यति मध्येमा चाहिँ 50% टिस्युज चाहिँ के को हुन्छ अरे, lymphoid tissues, that is mucosal associated lymphoid tissues, and these tissues is associated with the immune cells.